Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise, help you get those essential insights. Today, we're looking at something so many of us think about: getting smooth, hair-free skin. And the big question often is, do you stick with waxing? Or maybe jump into laser hair removal? Honestly, there are just so many options, it can feel, well, a bit overwhelming, right? You've sent in some great sources comparing these two really popular ways of dealing with unwanted hair. So our mission today in this deep dive is to really unpack them, look at the pros, the cons, all the little details. We want to help you figure out what makes sense for you, not just based on cost or speed, but, your goals, your lifestyle, your priorities.
Exactly right. And while, yeah, both waxing and laser are aiming for that same smooth result, they are fundamentally different in how they get you there. We're talking big differences in the actual process, what kind of results you should really expect, the cost involved, and maybe most importantly for a lot of people, the comfort level or discomfort level. There isn't really one best answer for everyone, so we'll lay out those key differences.
Okay, sounds good. Let's start with the classic method then, waxing. It's been around forever. For someone totally new to this, maybe just explain the basics. How does waxing work?
Sure. So at its core, waxing means putting warm wax on the skin. Now, this could be hard wax. This is the kind that dries and you just pull it off by itself. Or it could be soft wax, where you need a cloth or paper strip to pull it off. Either way, the wax sticks to the hair. Then you pull it off quickly against the way the hair grows. And that pulls the hair right out from the root, so immediate smoothness.
Right, and that immediate result, that's a huge draw, isn't it? Skin feels smooth right away, perfect for, last minute things. But beyond just being quick, what's another big advantage that comes up in the sources?
Well, building on that immediate aspect, something that's really key is just how versatile waxing is. It genuinely works on almost all skin types and, crucially, all hair colors. Doesn't matter if it's superfine light hair or thick dark hair, because it's physically pulling the hair out. It doesn't rely on pigment like some other methods, so that adaptability is a really significant pro. It fits you rather than you having to fit the method.
That's a great point. Total versatility. And practically speaking, another upside is you can actually do it at home. Take some practice, obviously, and the right kit. But that DIY option gives a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, and if we tie that into costs, individual waxing sessions, they're usually cheaper per visit than laser. So if you're just starting out or maybe the budget per session is tighter, waxing is more accessible financially, right? Less of a big upfront hit.
Makes sense. And prep is pretty minimal too, isn't it?
Basically, yeah. You just need the hair to be long enough for the wax to grip. Quarter of an inch, typically. It's about it.
Okay, but it's not all smooth sailing, so to speak. There are downsides. Waxing isn't exactly a relaxing spa treatment for everyone. What's the first con that usually comes up?
Right, let's talk about the ouch factor, comfort. For some people, and especially in sensitive spots, think bikini line, underarms waxing can be pretty painful. It's a sharp, quick feeling. Over fast, yes, but definitely not pain-free for everybody. Pain thresholds really vary.
Yeah, definitely something to keep in mind. And those smooth results we mentioned, they don't last forever. The sources say hair usually grows back in about 3 to 6 weeks, so you're signing up for regular sessions to keep it up. It's an ongoing thing.
And another common issue, a real drawback, is the risk of ingrown hairs. Because you're pulling the hair out from the root, sometimes against the grain. The new hair can get trapped under the skin when it regrows, which leads to those annoying, sometimes painful bumps.
Ugh, ingrown hairs. Yeah, not fun. Plus, there's the risk of just general skin irritation, redness, bumps. And look, if it's not done right, wrong temperature, poor technique, you could even get burns. Really shows why good technique matters, whether you do it yourself or go to a salon.
Absolutely. And finally, it just adds up time-wise. You've got the frequent appointments or setting aside time at home, plus you have that waiting period in between, letting the hair grow out long enough. That waiting time itself can feel like it gets in the way of always being smooth.
Okay, so that's waxing. Now, let's switch gears to the more modern option, laser hair removal. This one's interesting. It's not about pulling hair. It uses light, right? Concentrated light targets the hair follicle, that little thing under the skin that makes the hair. And the idea is to damage it, stop it from growing hair in the future. But it's really important to stress you need multiple sessions. It's not instant. Hair grows in cycles, so you need to catch it at the right time. And the results are long-lasting, yes, but it's usually called permanent hair reduction. Not necessarily 100% permanent forever removal. That's a key distinction. So let's talk pros for laser. This is where it sounds pretty appealing. What's the biggest draw, according to the sources?
The number one advantage, hands down, is the long-term results. Once you finish your series of sessions, and it is a series, you can get really significant hair reduction. Could be semi-permanent, could be basically permanent for many hairs. What that means is way less maintenance down the road. It can genuinely change your routine, frees up a lot of time and, frankly, headspace.
Less maintenance is definitely appealing. And what about the pain level compared to waxing?
Well, most people report it as less painful than waxing. The typical description is like a quick pinch or maybe a rubber band snapping against the skin.
Okay.
Especially now, modern lasers often have cooling systems built in to make it more comfortable. It's a different sensation than the pulling of wax, for sure.
Right, different sensation.
It's-
And what about ingrown hairs? Are they less of an issue?
Much less of an issue, generally. That's a huge plus. Because the laser is targeting and damaging the follicle itself, the hair is just less likely to get trapped if or when it does regrow. Often any hair that does come back is finer and lighter anyway, so yeah, much lower risk of ingrowns.
That's good news for a lot of people. Is it okay for sensitive skin too?
Generally, yes. It's often considered better for sensitive skin than waxing because it's not physically pulling or scraping the skin surface in the same way. It focuses the energy below the surface on the follicle. So usually less surface irritation, less redness, fewer bumps for those prone to them. That could be a really good option there.
Interesting. So less irritation, fewer ingrowns.
And all that adds up to being really time-saving, but in the long run, yes, you invest time up front doing the multiple sessions, but once that initial series is done, you might only need a touch-up occasionally, maybe once a year, maybe even less, or not at all. Just think about not having to shave or wax every few days or weeks. Huge time saver over years.
Okay, the long-term benefits sound great. But now for the cons of laser. And these seem like pretty important things to consider carefully. What's the first big one?
Yeah, the first hurdle for many is definitely the cost, the upfront cost. While it might save time and maybe even money over decades, each individual laser session costs significantly more than a waxing session.
Right.
It's an investment. You're not paying for one treatment. You're paying for a whole course, usually 6 to 8 sessions, sometimes more.
You just mentioned it. Multiple sessions are required. No way around that.
Absolutely. It's not a one-and-done thing at all. You need several treatments, usually spaced about 4 to 8 weeks apart, depending on the area. That's because the laser works best when the hair is in its active growth phase, the anagen phase. And not all your hairs are in that phase at the same time, so you need multiple passes over time to catch them all.
Okay, so patience is needed.
Patience and also the right conditions. This leads to a really crucial point. Laser isn't suitable for everyone. It just plain works best when there's a clear contrast between skin color and hair color. Ideally, lighter skin and darker hair.
Why is that?
Because the laser beam targets the melanin, the pigment, in the hair follicle. If your hair is very light blonde, red, gray, there isn't much pigment for the laser to see, so it's much less effective, sometimes completely ineffective. And very fine peach fuzz type hair, vellus hair, is also hard to treat effectively.
Got it. So hair color and skin tone match is key. What about prep? Is there anything needed before a session?
Yes, definitely. Preparation is important. You absolutely must avoid sun exposure, tanning beds, real sun, even some fake tans for several weeks before and after treatment.
Why is that so critical?
Because canned skin has more melanin, and the laser could accidentally target the melanin in your skin instead of just the hair follicle. That increases the risk of burns or pigmentation changes. And also very important, no waxing, plucking, or epilating for about 6 weeks beforehand.
Because the follicle needs to be there.
Exactly. The laser needs the hair root intact in the follicle to work. Shaving is okay. In fact, you usually need to shave the area right before your appointment, but no pulling the hair out by the root.
Okay, good to know. Lots to remember there.
And one last really vital point. This is strictly a professional treatment. Laser hair removal has to be done by a trained, certified technician in a proper clinic or medical setting. It is not something you can safely or effectively DIY at home. You need expertise for both safety and results.
Right. Professional only. Makes sense given the technology. Okay, so we've unpacked both. Waxing, laser, pros, cons, how they work. How does someone listening actually decide which is right for them? It really sounds like a personal calculation.
It absolutely is. Now, connecting back to the sources, the core things to weigh up are pretty clear. You got immediate results versus long-term results. That's a big one. Then there's the cost structure, lower per session versus higher upfront investment. Your own personal pain tolerance definitely plays a role. And crucially, that suitability factor. Does your skin and hair type actually work well with the method, especially for laser? It's about figuring out which of those factors matter most to you.
Okay, so let's try to make that concrete, maybe some scenarios. You might lean towards waxing if what? If you want results right now.
Exactly. If you need immediate smoothness, say for an event tomorrow, waxing delivers that.
Or if your budget per session is tight.
Right. If paying less per individual treatment is the priority right now,
Also, if you have blonde, red, gray, or very fine hair.
then laser probably isn't going to be effective, making waxing the better or maybe the only option of these two.
And finally, maybe if you just don't mind the discomfort too much and you're okay with the regular upkeep.
Yeah, if the maintenance routine fits your lifestyle and tolerance.
Okay. Now, conversely, who should be seriously considering laser?
You should definitely look into laser if your main goal is long-term hair reduction, like significantly less hair growth over time.
And if you're willing and able to make that bigger upfront investment for the long-term payoff.
Yes, if the budget allows for the full course of treatment.
What about the ideal candidate in terms of hair and skin?
It's most ideal if you fit that profile of having darker hair and lighter skin,
Yeah.
where the laser will be most effective.
And maybe if you find waxing particularly painful, are you really prone to ingrown hairs?
Absolutely. If you're looking for something that over time becomes less painful session by session and largely eliminates ingrowns and ultimately offers more convenience, less frequent need for treatment, then laser is likely the better bet for you.
So wrapping this up, it seems clear both methods really do have their own place. Neither is universally better. Waxing, quick, works for everyone in terms of hair type, accessible cost per session, but needs constant upkeep.
And laser offers that amazing long-term smoothness, incredible convenience eventually, less pain for many, fewer ingrowns. But it needs that bigger initial investment, takes time to see full results, and isn't suitable for all hair and skin types.
It really comes down to weighing those factors personally.
Definitely. We really hope laying it all out helps you think through your own priorities, your budget, your skin, your hair. Consider what fits your life best.
And maybe leave you with this thought to mull over. We've talked time, cost, comfort, results. Given all that, what does convenience truly mean to you when you think about your beauty routine? Something to consider.